What is going on YouTube? Derby Welder here, coming at you with another video. So today, by popular demand, everybody wants to see it. Everybody wants to update on the 350, and they want to see this SA200. So I figure I ain't got much going on this week, so I'll finally sit down and make this video for y'all. So here it is, my 1974 Ford F350 Super Cab Dually. If you haven't been following my channel for a while, definitely go back and look at when we first got this truck, because it's not even the same truck no more. So when we first got this truck, I'll just run a quick, give you a quick rundown. This was originally a single cab dump truck, and it was a grandpa dump truck. I mean, it had little itty bitty 27-inch tires. It had the suicide gas tank and the suicide lap belts. You know, it wasn't going to be a good daily use truck. So I decided to do a cab swap, because that was the easiest way to get shoulder belts and factory air conditioning and all of that. I did the cab swap, but I was fortunate enough to find a super cab for a really good price that needed some body work and new floor pans. So I sat the super cab in here, did the body work and the floor pans and everything, and made some custom mounts. And me, Noah, and some buddies of mine, we got together and we slapped a super cab on here. And now, as you can see, it's a one-of-a-kind truck. And over time, it has lived a few different, since I got it, it was about 3 or 4 years ago I got it. It's lived a few different lives and a few different styles, and it's kind of been refitted and adapted as my business has changed. So, as you can see, it has now completely different than it was in some other videos. Instead of looking like a service truck with a crane, it's now leaning more towards a pipeliner style rig, as you can see by the machine, the big old SA200, the boxes, and the whole 9 yards. But it's kind of got my own twist on it, and I'll show y'all that here in a minute. So here we are looking at this 390 big block, and if you remember how it used to look, you'll be like, yeah, that sort of looks like the same motor, but not really. So my plan was to pull this motor out over the summer, rebuild it, and put it back in. Back in the beginning of November, the motor had different plans. So I decided after it lost a cam lobe and a snap push rod, it was time to pull the motor and rebuild it. So this is a fresh, rebuilt 390. It is as close to the factory as it gets. Got it bored 40 over, the crank turned down 10 because there was some damage, and put it all back together with every dang thing new. Like new pistons, new rods, the whole 9 yards. Got this, used to have a big old obnoxious red Chevy HEI distributor sitting up here. It was dumb and stupid, so I got rid of it. I put a original style Protronics in here. Here's our coil. There's our Protronics. Got some nice high grade plug wires, because the cheap ones from the parts store always break and fall apart, and they don't even last a freaking year. Got a Holley 600 CFM 4150. Believe it or not, it is too small, and I got to rejet it, so I got to bump it up a couple jet sizes. It's running a hair lean for my taste. And yeah, there's an oil leak under the valve covers. Surprise, surprise, there's an oil leak. Oh, it's a Ford. Every freaking Ford I've ever rebuilt. Give it a week after rebuilding it, new seals done correctly, and it'll be leaking. Don't know why. I've done it 100 ways. I just gave up. I'm not dealing with it. But cool thing is, check this out. New alternator, brand new power steering, a new Flexolite fan that I found at the junkyard that won't even for this motor, but it was the right size. I just flipped it around because it was meant to spin one way, and I flipped it around and it fit perfect. Got that at the junkyard for like $5 because the guy there was like, why do you want that? I was like, because it's a fan. He's like, all right, yeah, whatever. You can give me $5, you can have it. And it was also a junkyard I do welding work for, so I get stuff dirt cheap there. So yeah, new motor. And I finally found the dual diaphragm brake booster. Napa sells them. So if you have one of these trucks with the big fat basketball dual diaphragm brake booster, Napa has them. They cost a lot, but Napa has them. We're going to go to the inside here. Believe it or not, I actually did some interior work to this truck. Yeah, dirty floor. The carpet was free. It came out of an 89 F-150. So that's why it's not an exact fit. And as you can see, there's a hole there. There's a 4-wheel drive. I'm just going to get a patch of carpet and slap it right there. Really don't care. It's a work truck. It's literally, this is just to insulate me from the engine, the heat of the engine and everything. That's all that really is to me. And I got, you know, Killamat or poor person Dynamat everywhere to, it's a loud truck. So then I had to kind of calm this thing down some, especially on the interstate. Now these seats here, they came out of a 07 Ford Explorer, and I made them fit. And make a couple mount brackets. I can't really see that one too well, but basically it's like a piece of square tube sitting right there, kind of to bump that up to set these in here, which is way better than the factory seats. And believe it or not, the back seat is not totally filled with stuff. It's just filled with diagnostic and tuning tools, because I don't totally trust the truck yet. And a cooler, because I don't have a nice cooler to go in the truck yet. Kind of going to buy a nice cooler along with the Pipeliner's Cloud when I get my Pipeliner's Cloud to go in here. You know, my basic PPE, Welding helmet, some knee pads. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to tell y'all right now, you can laugh all you want about wearing knee pads, but goodness, when you're working on a piece of equipment in a gravel yard and you're having to crawl all over that thing and under it, oh man, you're gonna feel it that night. It's gonna hurt. You're gonna want some knee pads. You know, haha, take a hit to your pride, wear some knee pads, because them guys laughing at you that ain't wearing them, they're gonna have knee problems in 10 years. Alright? And respirator too. You don't want to be having breathing problems. 1500 watt pure sine wave power inverter with my Milwaukee M12 and M18 chargers and batteries. Double-sided sticky tape to the top. So I go to a job, on my way to a job, I just boop, push the button, I show up, I got fully charged batteries. Bing, bang, boom, simple as that. I've not put the little plastic covering back on here yet, because there's still work I got to do back there. And it's a pain to get off and on, so I'm just going to leave it off until I install the air conditioning over the summer. The best thing about this truck is definitely the extended cab or the super cab or whatever you want to call it, because the back seat folds down into a platform and you can store all sorts of tools back there. Or if you're doing long haul work, and like me, I just don't want to rent a friggin' hotel, I friggin' just park and I'll throw out one of those old inflatable military mattresses back there, and I'll go to sleep in a damn parking lot. You know, if it's just a 2-day job, whatever, you know, I'll pocket the hotel money. All right, back here, now we're getting to the bed where all the cool stuff is. Giant fire extinguisher. I get these secondhand, basically used, but used certified by my local fire extinguisher guy who handles all this stuff. So I get these at a really good price. So I just put the biggest one I had on here so nobody can be saying stupid stuff like, that fire extinguisher looks too small, and you know, dumb stuff like that. I got a empty helium bottle because it was free, and a 200 cubic foot oxygen sitting there. The eventual plan will be to kind of refit this to where I can hold different size bottles. I have a 300 cubic foot argon and my 200 cubic foot oxygen sitting up here. So it'll be sized a little different, but the whole point of this truck is to have basically the largest bottles that you can that you can move on the truck. So there's more time welding, less time at the welding supply store refilling. Now we'll go down to this box here. This is my road working box. Got all my oils and power steering fluids and things like that, because it's a Ford, you gotta have it. Got tire patch kit, some ratchet straps, jumper cables, and my Cobalt Master Mechanics tool kit. I love this thing. I bought it just after Christmas. It was still on sale. Favorite thing about it is the bottom drawer is empty for you to put your tools in and stuff that's not in the kit. They were just light years ahead of everyone else on that. I love it because I have all these little silly tools I like to keep around, like some bolt extractors, have rounded bolt extractors, and the reverse flute bolt extractors and things like that in there, and a nutcracker in there just for that kind of repair work where nothing else will work but those to get the job done. And that kind of stuff right there will make you an absolute hero on a job site, because no one else wants to do it or has the tools, and you show up and you have it, man, you can get some long-time customers for pulling off stuff like that. All right, and what everybody wants to see, the greatest welding machine in the world, if this is your fancy, the Lincoln SA200. This, I believe, is a 72 red face hex barrel SA200. I'm not sure that's the original faceplate, so I'm just going off what the faceplate says. I'm sure some SA200 guru would be like, well, technically it's a this, that, like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's a SA200 in extremely good shape, fires up every single time, don't leak no oil, don't leak no antifreeze, so I'm very, very, very happy with this thing. And it's in really good shape. I bought it, already has the oil filter kit installed, a new alternator, new radiator, hoses, belts. It's awesome. It was $3,500. Bought it from a guy who's a follower of mine on Instagram, and I absolutely love this machine. I will do a whole video on just this one day, but let me just say, yes, it's less capable than the Bobcat, but I would rather show up with this than the Bobcat. I'll explain all that in another video. Over here we have the welding box. This is our box that mainly I will be using. It's the welder's box, right? So we got tape measures, because I like them over here, because I like getting out left hand side, getting them on my stuff. We got our earplugs. Safety glasses are actually in the truck. I learned keep your safety glasses in the truck on the dashboard. So they're in the box here rolling around. Man, they get so scuffed up it ain't even funny. So I keep them in the truck on the dashboard. So y'all freaking out about safety glasses, that's where they're at. Atlas Tomahawk, because when I built this truck, I didn't have East Wing chipping hammer money, and this Atlas Tomahawk is a great budget alternative. Absolutely love it. Got our laser, thermal laser thermometer in here. The chalk line, this is great for when you're cutting plate and stuff like that. You can take this, set it up, and doop, you know, make nice straight lines on a piece of plate. Like all my different size squares here, I got a 6-inch square, I got a 1-foot square, and I got my big framing square. Eventually all these will be welded up here in their own little spots, but I ain't worried about it right now. The TIG rig right here, got our TIG torch, CK. I tried to go all out on this truck. I wanted this truck to be really, really good. We got our CK torch here. All our different welding rods in nice cans. You can see I do keep 7024s on here. They're great for their one time you need to weld a whole lot of flat and you ain't got dual shield or flux core. This will save your butt. All right. And back there I got the caps for the bottles. That's actually the hour meter for a 200 I ain't installed yet. The little disposable, like one-time use quick fire extinguisher. Y'all need to get one of these, because way better, a small fire starts, you pull this out, use it, 14 bucks. You pull that out, burn it, 60 bucks to refill. All right, let me tell y'all that right now. My TIG rod cylinder with no TIG rods, because I ain't got no argon on here, so why on earth carry any TIG rods on a truck that ain't got no TIG rods? And I built these boxes. I did build these boxes. After I built them, I was like, yeah, I could have done them a little different. There's probably a better way to build them, but they work. So it did everything I wanted it to do. It's got the rods here, and it's on gas shocks, which was a big thing. I wanted them on gas shocks. I just don't like that whole flopping it over or sticking a 2x4 up there. I just don't like that crap. I want it on gas shocks. You roll it to a job, you can just, it opens up nice and smooth. And gas shocks are like, what, 10 bucks on Amazon? Just get them. Just get them. It makes life so much easier. Go over here, I got 2-inch receivers in the back. Got my vise here, but you could put a rollout wheel on here. I don't do much pipe, so there is no point in me keeping a rollout wheel here on the truck. Probably put a freaking propane or charcoal grill in that 2-inch receiver and just keep the vise here, because I'll use the vise way more than I ever will a rollout wheel. Yeah, there's no skirt around it, and I don't have mud flaps, but North Carolina doesn't require me to have mud flaps, so I ain't too worried about it. I will deal with that when I build the skirt and everything. That's a later project. Now we go to the passenger side box, which I guess could more be considered a helper's box, but not necessarily. Got my long barrel IC weld torch, that's what I call it. Then I got my big style Victor. I got that one for basically nothing. I like the small one better, but that one was dirt cheap, so I have it. And in here we have all sorts of stuff. We have our Porto band. This is the AC/DC. You can tell this is the AC/DC. If you have a 200 or a machine like that only has DC 110, you have to have AC or DC powered tools. This one, the way you can tell the difference is the AC only has a little wheel right here that's variable speed. The DC AC/DC universal motor one has a high-low switch on top. All right. And like everything on this truck, I tried to go all out. You know, it's all Milwaukee, DeWalt. You know, it's all big name stuff. Like you see, we got our impact set here, another impact set. We got our drill bit set there. I do buy the cheap, yes, welder tungstens, but tungsten is a tungsten is a tungsten, and the welding supply store wants way too much. It don't matter where you get them, they want way too much for tungstens. It's not worth it. Masonry, drill bits. I have a Milwaukee M18 drill that also has the hammer drill function in it, so it's 2 tools in one. It's the brushless fuel version, so it's really nice. It's kind of a catch-all, a bunch of random nonsense in it. That's my TIG rig, so it's got my TIG rig box, so it's got like my gas lens and other random stuff like that in it. We got our magnets. I got 2 magnets right there. They are a lifesaver. These little 90-degree angle things right here, they are a lifesaver. They're must-haves if you're a fabricator like me. You know, I'm not a pipe welder, I'm a fabricator, so that's why a lot of this stuff looks different, and why the truck is similar to a pipe rig, but not necessarily like a pipe rig. And a little mini pry bar because, well, whenever you need one, right? My M18 cordless angle grinder, lifesaver. I hate running extension cords. That's great for I need to grind 1 or 2 things. I ain't got to run an extension cord. And this doesn't have the auto idle. It still has the old R57 manual idle system in it. So it's great to just have this. I ain't got to run back to the machine to pin it back to full idle to run an angle grinder. I do have the higher performance DeWalt made in the USA 4.5-inch angle grinder. And I have the DeWalt straight grinder because I don't have air tools on here. No air tools. So I got to have a AC powered straight grinder, die grinder, etc. AC/DC. Because your angle grinders are usually AC/DC. But you got to check on here. The little tag right here for those of y'all who don't know. Look at this tag right there. And focus on that tag. It will say which way. I think I got the camera in the wrong mode for it to focus, but it will say on that little tag what will power it. And most of these, if it's a single speed, it will, your SA200 will power it. But if it is variable speed, your SA200 will destroy it. So that's why I have a battery powered drill. I go to this underbed box. In this underbed box, again, I don't have AC power, so I get around that by battery-powered work lights, battery-powered drill and impact. In here, I have my backup helmet, backup gloves, backup leathers, and 2 larger-ish, I guess they're probably mid-size. They make some pretty big fire blankets, but 2 fire blankets that are more than enough to handle most jobs, because you've got to have fire blankets. When you look at the bed on this truck, you can definitely tell it is pipeline inspired. It's not a pipeliner style bed, and I'll tell you why it's not technically a pipeliner style bed. One of the reasons is we got these underbed boxes here. Pipeliner style beds or Texas style pipeliners beds do not have that. I think it's a very missed opportunity, and you can store a lot of tools in those. And the big deal is pipeliners, unlike fabricators and repair guys like me, are not carrying big tools around like saws, mag drills, and things like that. So they don't need these big boxes. They can get away with just those 2 boxes back there, and that's perfectly fine for their job. My job's a little bit different, but this can immediately, if I ever do get on a pipeline, can immediately run as a pipeline truck, or as a fabrication truck, or as a repair truck. It will do whatever, and that was the whole idea with it. And the reason I went with a pipeline style, but not really pipeline style, is there's a 5th wheel hitch here. my fifth wheel, I gotta have a fifth wheel on this for hauling my house around. So that's why we have these low profile boxes, and this will actually wind up coming back even a little further. I know some people are going to freak out. You can't do that. Yes, I can. And this will eventually come back a little further, and because I gotta definitely make sure I got clearance to where the camper doesn't bump into the 200. As you can see on the 200, I left the oil bath filter on there. That's the better kind. I did buy the paper filter kind to go on there. Ran it for a little while. Didn't like it, so I went back to the original oil-filled filter. But more on that in another video. And eventually, like I said, we're going to put skirts on it. But yeah, it is similar to a pipeline-style truck. This truck really is built more around, I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to work either all day or a couple days there. This is not I'm going to go work here for an hour, go work here for an hour, go work here for 2 hours, come home, go work here, go work there, da-da-da-da-da. This is a heavy truck. I'm going somewhere, I'm going to stay there a while, and I'm going to do whatever the job particularly entails that day. And one more tool I almost forgot is my multi-ladder right here, the Little Giant multi-ladder. Forgot to mention that. Super great tool to have. You got to have one of these on your truck. You never know what you're going to be doing the next day. And like I said, this truck is basically built as multi-purpose, multi-role truck, even though it's got a SA200. Isn't exactly the most multi-role machine. More on that in another video. Gotta have that ladder right there. So thank you guys for watching this video. Like I said earlier, this truck isn't exactly done. There's a lot more stuff that I'm going to add to it. But if there's a tool you think that I need for the kind of work I do, drop it in the comments below. Let me know. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And please be sure to go back and look at all my F350 Super Cab update videos, because this truck, you'll see, is not the same truck that I originally bought. It's a totally different truck and a way more capable truck. Thank you guys for watching, and you all have a fantastic day.